Royal Rumble 2024 doesn't really need many returns. Well, doesn't mean it wouldn't be nice. With many talent in AEW now, expectations are lower than ever. Still, surprisingly, there are quite a few names I could still come up with. And let's get this out of the way. Hulk Hogan teased a Rumble appearance.
I still might have one left in me, brother.
Oh my god, these back issues are killing me, brother. So how about that? Would be a cool visual, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't sound like the safest option. I wouldn't be shocked if we get something stupid like,
I slammed Andre, brother, and I know someone who's just like Andre, brother. You know, the guy I slammed, brother. Let me introduce you to Omos.
Brother, you get the idea. Andre big, Omos big, Hogan slammed big, so now he introduces big, and
Party's over, Grandpa.
So of course, welcome back to the channel. If you enjoy these kind of videos, make sure to like, subscribe if you already didn't, and I have a question for today. Let me know in the comments below who's going to return during the men's Royal Rumble match and the women's Royal Rumble match. Now, a little disclaimer, I have a lot of names, doesn't necessarily mean that all of them are going to come back. I have like 10, 11 names, and I'm just gonna talk about the possibility of a few of them making the return to the WWE. Don't expect anyone from AEW though. And of course, let's make it a little bit more interesting. Hit the timer. Mr. Kennedy. So here's the deal. Since a lot of people are in AEW, WWE don't really have a lot of choice. Now, we've seen Carlito coming back to the WWE, and we're at a point right now where we don't necessarily get many legends, but we get people from the Ruthless Aggression era. And I believe Mr. Kennedy is a perfect fit. I've seen a few pictures of him, seems like he's still working out. It's really unfortunate how his career concluded in the WWE, and this return most likely wouldn't be a long-term thing, but I would honestly pop just hearing that theme song, Kennedy! As far as I know, Kennedy is not signed with any company at the moment, so in my opinion at least, it would be a pretty cool surprise. Chris Masters. Man, that guy used to impress me. My man can do a dance with his boobies. Like, I have tits. Like, he has muscle here. I have tits. You know, I can't claim that I was the biggest fan of Chris Masters, and he never really was a main eventer, even though he got a decent push back in like 2005. But again, it's all about surprises, it's all about the pop, and I honestly believe people would be pleased with this return. Even if it's just for one night only, I think that would be pretty great. I was always surprised by the size of his upper body, and of course the titty dance. He can dance with his tits, man. Come on. What else do I need to tell you to sell this return to you? Tyler Breeze. With Tyler Breeze, it's kinda weird. So he's in WWE games because of this All My GM shit, and I always thought he's very talented and had so much more to give in the WWE, whether as a singles competitor or with Fandango. He also seems like a very nice guy, and he's also someone who's not in AEW or other major promotions, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see Tyler Breeze in the Royal Rumble. He also has a very memorable theme song, so I believe the pop would be pretty big, and here's the deal. If some of these guys get a very big pop, there's a big possibility WWE might want them to stay. But let's not forget what happens with the Women's Royal Rumble every year. Since we didn't have that many women in the WWE, at least before, we would get a lot of legends like Tori Wilson, for example, Ivory. It didn't really mean anything. They didn't stay in the WWE, but it was always nice to see them. Lots of nostalgia. Not everything needs to involve long-term booking. I wanna pop. Eve Torres. Back in the day, probably my favorite female wrestler in the WWE. I think what she did as a heel was absolutely amazing. Was she called the Hosky or my memories failing me? Poor man Zack Ryder was in a wheelchair and she was fucking John Cena, man. Then she turned heel, she had this great character with John Laurinaitis. I could be wrong, once she left the WWE, we never saw her back. And that's kinda weird. She just made her return to WWE games, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see Eve Torres in the WWE. By saying I'm not gonna be surprised, I don't mean that I'm not gonna be impressed. Obviously, I'm gonna pop. Wade Barrett. As much as I would prefer Michael Cole entering the Rumble again? I don't think that's happening, even though the guy is probably still jacked. Man, he's working out. So Wade Barrett is a great commentator, and it doesn't seem like he really wants to get back in the ring, but again, it's all about surprises. Maybe for one night only, we could get this huge pop of Wade Barrett joining the Royal Rumble, whether he's commentating the match or not. Barrett is from an era when I was like 10, 11 years old watching wrestling, so I thought the Nexus were the coolest shit ever. Maybe they weren't, but as a kid, I was like, holy shit. And I think we could get a really cool moment between Sheamus and Wade Barrett and Drew McIntyre, you know, his pals. Naomi. So here's the deal. I'm not sure if Naomi is still in TNA, but I've heard her contract is expiring, so I think there is a possibility, not that it wasn't possible before we saw Mickie James. Naomi and Sasha left when Vince McMahon was in control. If Triple H brought back CM Punk, I think he can bring Naomi back too. And the fact that she left is actually good for her because she increased her stock. Sasha Banks. Same goes with Sasha Banks. So we don't know where Sasha is going to land. TNA, AEW, WWE, there's a lot of rumors, but I don't really believe these anymore since a lot of people said CM Punk is not returning to the WWE, and he did. So when it comes to Sasha, she has a very huge fan base. I'm kinda in the middle, and just by saying this, I know how much hate I'm going to get, but I feel like she's very good in the ring, but her microphone skills are, let's just simply say, not that good. But she would add a lot to that division, so maybe Triple H is cooking something. Liv Morgan. So Liv Morgan is still under WWE's contract, but she, I believe, got injured, and then that's the last time we saw her. First of all, I have a question for you. Who looks hotter in their mugshot? I might go with Vince McMahon if I'm gonna be. It's just Vince, you know, he pulls it off. Liv Morgan has a very big fan base. Whether it's people who appreciate pro wrestling, who appreciate women's wrestling, or drooling virgin marks. Maybe it's one of these cases where she was cleared before, but let's just wait for the Rumble. Jake Paul. Look, I don't like the guy. None of you do. Nobody likes him. I don't know if his parents like him. Honestly, not to be mean, but I mean, and I'm talking about his personality. Of course, he's very successful and good at what he does. He's entertaining, all that shit. Since Logan Paul is in the WWE, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to get Jake Paul in the Rumble for like a minute, do some cool shit, and get eliminated. I'm not saying that it's something I'm craving for, but it's possible, people. Bad Bunny. Well, that is almost a given. I think we're going to see Bad Bunny in the Royal Rumble. And there's not that much else to say. He's good, he's entertaining, he's very popular, he adds eyes to the WWE product. I think we're going to see Bad Bunny. Brock Lesnar. So we heard rumors that Brock Lesnar is going to make his WWE return very soon. Is there a better time than the Royal Rumble to start a program with somebody? So you know the deal. Brock in the Rumble gets eliminated by someone, starts a rivalry for WrestleMania. Honestly, it's one of these cases where I have no idea what you give to Brock Lesnar this year. And as I've said that, I remembered it's Gunther. Yes, Gunther eliminates Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar gets back in the ring. Everybody pops. Why is there so much jizz in wrestling fans' pants? This would be great, and that's an absolute dream match. That's the biggest Brock Lesnar match I want to see in the WWE. And also an interaction between Brock Lesnar and CM Punk. What about that? Robert Roode. Bobby, Robert, not sure. The thing with Roode is that I believe his wrestling career is kinda over, and I could be wrong. I think he's working as a producer or something along those lines, but he's still with the WWE now. Doesn't necessarily mean we couldn't see him in the Royal Rumble match. The main pop factor is the theme song. Glorious. Everybody pops. Look, I wish he could still wrestle. He was good. He suffered a lot of injuries, and if that's not the safest option, maybe a surprise. Braun Breaker. Obviously advertised as the next big thing in the WWE. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see Braun Breaker in the Royal Rumble. I feel like it's one of these kind of a given things, and he might even jump to the main roster after this. I could be wrong, but I'm almost sure we're going to see Braun Breaker in the Royal Rumble. X-Pac. So it's being rumored, and X-Pac actually, denied the rumors. Which always happens, why would you tell people? I get that. Obviously, it's not a long-term thing. Shows up at the Rumble. Pretty cool surprise. Don't remember the last time I've seen this guy in the ring. But he's with Triple H. A pretty big possibility. Big E. Well, that would receive a very big pop from the WWE. As you guys know, Big E got injured, I believe, a couple of years ago now, and we haven't seen him since, and he was doing just fine. He's a former WWE champion, so obviously it depends on whether he's healthy and, clear to compete, but if he is, I'm almost sure WWE are saving this for the Royal Rumble, and I'm sure the pop would be gigantic. Man, it's been a while. I don't even remember his theme song. AJ Lee. What do you mean, AJ? She can't be in the WWE. That is a boy's name. AJ is a girl. Are you kidding me? AJ Lee is another name that we haven't seen ever since she left the WWE, and now with CM Punk in the WWE, this whole relationship probably changed. So I've heard somewhere she's not really interested in wrestling, but that always changes. It changed with everybody. And again, with CM Punk being in the WWE, whether it's just a surprise appearance or a long-term thing, I wouldn't be shocked. And also, at one point, AJ was my favorite female wrestler in the WWE. In an era of WWE divas, she seemed like an actual wrestler. Sheamus. I believe the last time we seen Sheamus was when he was wrestling Edge in Edge's last WWE match. I'm not sure whether he's injured or not, but recently he teased his old theme song return, and I would pop. If Sheamus comes back, I'm gonna pop. If Sheamus comes back with It's a Shameful Thing Lobster Head theme song, I'm gonna pop even more. Welcome back, Sheamus. And finally, Zack Ryder. So I believe he's one of the most popular indie wrestlers right now, wrestling under the name Matt Cardona, and he's doing very good. He keeps making jokes about a WWE return, and he said if he's going to make his WWE return, he wants to return as Matt Cardona and not Zack Ryder. I don't know about that, buddy. Everybody wants to hear the radio song. It's crazy how popular this dude was back in 2010, 11, and 12, so I don't know if it's a long-term thing, but definitely would receive a massive pop from the crowd because it almost seems impossible at this point for whatever reason. But I get a lot of nostalgia from this guy. Again, I was a teenager back then and I always rooted for the guy. You gotta win. He won the Intercontinental Championship, lost it the next day, and I was mad, and he had a special connection with the audience. And I believe he's all jacked now and people would take him a bit more seriously. I would actually love to see this guy as a regular in the WWE, but we'll see. So these are the returns that could still happen at the Royal Rumble. Obviously, maybe two of them are going to happen, but like I told you, I don't even feel like it's necessary at all. If we end up not getting any returns, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. Obviously, we need something, but at the end of the day, we got Cody, we got Punk's first match back, so I can't really say that I have high expectations for returns. It doesn't matter as much this year, maybe for the first time in a very long time. But let me know in the comments below, who do you believe is going to return and who do you want to see making the return in the Royal Rumble? Thank you for watching, like, subscribe if you already did, and the great one, peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.